Welcome to Lsteps.Bgains. In this video, we're going to learn how cooling can improve motor, cognitive functions, and emotional well-being with individuals with multiple sclerosis. Let's talk cooling for multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis, MS. It is an autoimmune neurodegenerative disease characterized by inflammatory demyelination of the central nervous system. Big words. What does that mean? Well, myelin is the protective covering. It wraps. It's the sheath that protects neurons. Neurons are the telecommunication system sending information to and from the brain. So if you get demyelination, which is a destruction of that protection, that protective covering, you're going to get a slowing or a stopping of the information, the nerve impulses from the brain to and from the spinal cord. The exact cause is unknown. So a visual or analogy would be myelin is like the cords on a vacuum or a light, a cable wired to the TV or a phone. So if we get damage or demyelination to that covering, we're going to get things like bad cell phone reception, a fuzzy TV picture, or some people describe it as the game of telephone where their brain is sending one message and the body's hearing a different message. Now, multiple sclerosis. Myelin damage can occur throughout the body, multiple locations, and then that damage can lead to axon damage. That's actually part of the neuron itself underneath the protective sheath, and that can be replaced by scarring. So that's where we get the name multiple sclerosis. It has multiple locations of sclerosis or scarring. Now, remyelination, that spontaneous repair of new myelin sheaths actually can occur and generate around demyelinated axons. However, these new internodes are often shorter and thinner. So for that reason, they do become increasingly incomplete or inadequate, and they do eventually fail, unfortunately, in the majority of lesions in patients. Now, MS is called the snowflake disease. That is because no two individuals are the same. We can't compare people. All right. I love the way Herb Kirkpatrick says. He says, if you've seen one person with MS, you've seen one person with MS. For time constraints, I'm going to run fast here, but you can always pause or look back at the video here. But we have visual problems, numbness or tingling, fatigue. That occurs in 80% of individuals. It can significantly interfere with daily function, home, and work. Spasticity, bladder and bowel problems are actually very common. Pain and itching, MS hug. This is the symptom. This is like a sensation of a squeezing around the torso. Vertigo and dizziness. Emotional changes, mood swings, episodes of uncontrollable laughing or crying. Cognitive changes. This is higher level brain functions. And clinical or depression is very, very common. Now, another common symptom is called thermosensitivity. 60 to 80% of individuals experience this hypersensitivity to heat, to body temperature. It can be environmental or exercise induced. This temporary exacerbation, it can cause changes. It can cause a slowing or a nerve block that the signals to and from the brain can become slowed or blocked, In other words, the vacuum cord has nicks, that light cord is fraying, the TV picture is fuzzy, the phone cable has a tear, telephone reception is garbled, telephone message is skewed as an analogy to explain thermosensitivity. Now, the good news is we can combat this through cooling, Cooling demyelinated nerves. They can actually preserve the signals, the information. They can preserve the speed, nerve conduction, velocity. They can actually prevent or delay blocking of the messages and potentially improve MS symptoms. In other words, protect those cords or cables to preserve messages or electricity. Now, this can be done through ice packs, cooling vests, and or torso wraps, It can be done before exercise, during exercise. Some people put it on an hour a day. Some people put it on before an event, like they're going to a wedding, It might be hot at the wedding, so they put the vest on before the wedding. Or keep ice packs in the car to take breaks. You can keep the room temperature or the house cooler to prevent this. And then they also have cooling for the head and neck, and we'll talk about that. We're going to very, very briefly run through 4 research studies. It's going to be kind of quick here, but number 1, cooling vests for walking capacity. Now, this study had 10 females with MS, moderate to severe disability, and they looked at their walking speed, their walking distance, and their perception of heat. They had 2 groups, okay? Group 1 actually had the cooling vest with ice packs, okay? Group 2 had these vests that felt cooler. They had a cooling sensation, but they did not have the ice packs. They had individuals do those tests, walking speed, distance, okay? Then they had the ice packs on for 20 minutes and then reassessed again. And this is what they found. Patients who wore the ice vest walked 46% further and 36% faster with only 20 minutes of cooling. Now, head pre-cooling, okay? This can also be fantastic. So this study had 6 individuals, ambulatory females, and they looked at walking speed, walking distance, but they added these 2 components of visual acuity and hand grip strength. This time they did 60 minutes of cooling. They had 3 groups, okay? And they found that the true cooling group, all right, the head and neck cooling, improved walking speed, walking distance. It did not improve visual acuity or hand grip strength, just to assess that. Here's a picture, okay? This is from Polar Products. There are other companies out there, no paid promotions here, but some examples of head and neck cooling products. Now, what about wearing a vest during exercise? And then do vests also, or does cooling impact emotional well-being, cognitive functions, and physical fatigue? Great question. So this study had 18 individuals. Now, they did a 7-week physical training program, and they had 2 groups, okay? One group wore this vest while they were exercising. A second group did not wear a vest at all. What they found was the individuals that wore the vest, that first group, okay, they actually had improvements in cognitive and physical performance, and then their perceived fatigue and emotional well-being was significantly improved with those heat-sensitive persons with multiple sclerosis. One more. Now, this study looked at vests for gait speed, visual acuity, contrast sensitivity, and fatigue reduction. Okay, they had 84 individuals, and they wanted to look at the degree of impairments, once again, visual changes, fatigue, strength, and cognition. They also wanted to see, does it matter if the cooling vest is high cooling or low cooling? In other words, the temperature of it. And then how does it change individuals' perceived fatigue if you just do a cooling 1 hour every day for a month? So they found that high dose cooling, all right, the cooler the vest, did actually produce a greater reduction in body temperature, and they showed more improvements in gait speed, visual acuity, contrast sensitivity. And then the individuals that wore that vest for 1 month, an hour a day, they found a greater reduction in fatigue. Here are some examples, some pictures of torso in cooling vests. These are by Polar Products. There are other companies out there. Now, there's this fantastic cooling distribution program. It is by the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America. They actually offer cooling vests and accessories at no charge. Now, this is for individuals diagnosed with MS. They provide one every 5 years. There is inclusion criteria, however. There's an income eligibility, and then you do need that letter or prescription showing proof of MS. But this is a fantastic program to tap into if you meet the inclusion criteria. To learn more about that, and then more information on the actual research studies, resources, go ahead, check out links in that description below. But that is some of the fantastic research on cooling for multiple sclerosis. And that is how cooling can actually improve motor, cognitive functioning, and emotional well-being with individuals with multiple sclerosis. If you want to learn how forearm cooling can improve tremors with MS, check out another video linked in the description below. And if you found this educational, please like, subscribe, share with others. My link to Patreon is in that description below. And then check out other free educational videos and free home exercise programs here on Little Steps, Big Gains.